Hey guys, so today is day 11 of Road to Grandmaster. This is the game today. So this was played by Romanishin versus Doretsky. Alright, so this position is black to play. So black played the move Queen e6 here. Alright, and after Queen g4 seems like the only move. Sorry, not g4. So by the way guys, today we'll be learning about something much more like a knowledge or theory in the endgame. So usually we're learning about like practical endgames, practical decision making, something like that. So today we'll be talking about more like knowledge. Alright, so let's see. Alright, in this position, after check, Queen g4. So in this position is black to move here. So in this position, black has to decide. Should he go king e7? So what should he calculate is after trading the queen, is it a draw or a win for white? Right. Currently white is up a pawn. So after takes, king g4, king f6, and in this position, after thinking for about 10 minutes, black pieces decided that white could win by king f3. Right, just a quick reaction. So the idea of king f3, it's right. If you play king f4, then h5, then it's a draw. So the idea of king f3, you kind of like, if h5 now king f4, you get the opposition, you win. If king f5, then g4, then you get the opposition again, then you win. King f7, black got the opposition again. You have g4, and you got opposition anyway. So it seems like white's winning, right? Yeah, and then that's why in the game, after queen g4, queen f6 was played in the game. Right, they follow queen g8 check, king e7, and now king g4. Good move. And it becomes clear that black's going to lose the h6 pawn. Right. So white's idea probably is bring the king, and now there's no check. So okay, there's some check. Okay, so yeah, after in this position, after queen e5, the game adjourned. Right, the game adjourned, and actually this position, it's about another chapter. It's about another chapter. The topic is what we learned before. Actually, it's called traps found in analysis. All right, so this was actually analyzed before the chapter, but I haven't shown it, so I'll show it now. So you can pause the video anytime if you want. So it's white to play and win. Yeah, so I just basically it's just like a trap. So queen h7 is the move in this position. Right, after king e8, and white cannot take the pawn. Queen takes h6 because of, right, just a quick second, let me wait a second. Yeah, okay, so in this position, this is the position. So after queen h7, king e8, black cannot take on h6 because of queen e2 check, and king g5, now queen e3, king g6, and now you take the pawn, and it is a draw. Right, but instead queen g6 is the move. Now you force the black king to the dark square. Of course d7 lose to queen f5 check. We trade the queen. King f8 also. We can trade the queen or just take the pawn. So seems like king e7 or king d8 is the only move. Right, so after queen g6 check, after king d8 or king e7 actually doesn't matter. right? We do the same thing. So let's say king e7. Now we can take, because after queen e2, now it's a different story. Now you take our g3 pawn. There is the queen interpose on g5 with check, right? But if g3 pawn was not be taken, it is easy to white king to escape, and white simply have two connected passer and just completely winning. So wait. So right. By the way, king d8 is the same thing. Yeah, king d8 is the same thing. So in the game, king e7 was played. Now it takes. So instead of queen e2 check, he choose queen e4, because it's clear that queen e2 you lose. So he choose to play queen e4. Actually, just no different. And the move is king h5 here, and black resign, white win. Alright, actually queen e2 is a little bit tricky. So in this position, king g5 is not a great move, because, alright, surprisingly, there's a perpetual check for black. Right, unexpected perpetual check. So queen d5 check, king g6. Right, if king g4 then queen d1 check, then we keep checking. So king g6, then queen f7 check, and we just repeat. So king g5, queen d5. So it's a perpetual check. Alright, so okay, by the way, queen f4 is decent actually. Right, but okay, I mean in the game king h5 I was played the simplest way, and after king h5 black resign, so white win. Right, so that's kind of like a trap. So basically you can't take on h6 because of queen e2, then it's actually a draw because they take a pawn. So queen g6, queen g6 check is a very good move to force your king to the dark square, and we can go to g5 with check after queen e2. Yeah, and then this. Alright, by the way, I also have a video about like the trap. I forgot what is the day. Probably day 2. Probably day 2. So alright, let's see. Alright. So let's go back to the main game. Sorry, the main analysis. So the game actually ended like this. So alright, so queen g4. So, yeah, so the game ended like this. So it seems like black lost, right? Alright, so okay, turns out that king e7, it's actually a draw. Yeah, it's actually a draw. So right, so in this position, right, of course you can pause the video anytime if you want. So there's 2 moves to draw according to the table base. Yeah. So let's see the move by black pieces one by one. So in this position, let's say you play king f5, right? Then simply g4. So king e5 and king e3. So this is a very typical like endgame theory in the king and pawn game. So white sees the opposition and exploit it by going round, which is the main method for exploiting the opposition. So for example, king f6, king f4, we just keep opposite, get the opposition of the king, and now king d5, good move. Right, this is what we call going round. So it's like you go here, I go here, you go here, I go other side. Right, that's going round. So well, let's see. So I just show you. So that after king f7, By the way, if you play h5, then simply g5. Again, we win. So king e5, king e7, king f5, and we have this h5, and we got the opposition anyway. Right, we have white has this spare tempo, which is h5, so it's an easy win. So let's see. It seems that moving the king to the 7th rank instead of king f5 changed nothing, right? In view of king f4, so I'll give a example. Let's say you play king f7, then something like this: king f4, king f6, then g4. Right? Because of this, then it seems like white's winning. But in this position, he said, the black pieces said, he did not realize that the opposition was only necessary with the pawn on g4, right? And that, well, it was on g3, it was necessary. So, on the contrary, not to take the opposition under any situation. So, right, so you should not take the opposition because white always have a move. So the move here is actually, there's two moves here. I'll show the first one. So it's king e7. Right, the idea is after king f4, now king e6, good move. Right, g4, and now when a pawn move to g4, you take the opposition. Right, so it's like a triangulation. So after king e7, king f4, you go king e6. Right. Right. If let's say white play king e4, I believe h5 is the draw move. Yeah, h5 did draw the game. Now again, black get the opposition and just keep following the queen. So there's no, white cannot going round, So it's actually a draw. And now they cannot break with the pawn. So just a draw. So after king e7. Alright, so we should note that king f7 is a mistake since not because of king f4 actually. Now I believe, yeah, king e6 again. We cannot take the opposition because of g4. We should go here like this, and king e4 then h5. So there's g4 for white, and then white got the opposition. Alright, this is what we call a distant opposition. Right. So let's say king e7. Again, white get the opposition, the distant opposition. Right, in that cases, in this case, not this case, in this case, this I believe is h5. Yes. Yeah. So when the pawn go to g4, you need to get the opposition. When the pawn is on g3, you should not get the opposition. Right? Because now if white go at opposition, you have this move. You have a spare pawn move, spare tempo move, and you get the opposition, and it's a draw. And yeah, this is a typical one pawn stop, two pawn. Right? They can't move the pawn, so it's actually a draw. So yeah, so let's see. That's king f7, g4, king here, and now actually we just get the same thing. Now king d6 going round, the technique of going round here, and now we get the opposition again, king f6, king d5. Yeah, right, if you go king f6, we just go king d5 right away. Again, it's winning. So king f7 is actually losing because you get the opposition and allow white to play g4, so it's not good. Yes, so king e7 is the first draw move. The second one it's king g6. Again, you don't take the opposition. Right? If king g4, there's two ways actually. You can play h5, and you got the opposition. Right? They go any way, you take the opposition. Second way is you just wait, I believe. Yeah, you just wait with king f6. But okay, there's king h5. Something is a little bit complicated, but if you calculate accurately, it's nothing. So the idea is like king f3, they just repeat. If king h5, I believe king g7, right? Yeah, just defend the pawn, and white can't get the opposition. If you go g4, okay, you take the opposition. If you go king g4, you take the opposition. If you go g4, now you take the opposition with king h7, and it's a draw. So, so let's see. So if king g7, after king f4, this position. So we already know that king g4 is not good. We have h5 simply. So king f4, let's say. If king e4, again, we don't. Alright, in this position we can't get opposition, so it's okay. It's actually fine. So we go king f6, good move. Not king h5. Actually, king h5 in this position loses because of king f4, king g6, and now king e5. Right, they're going around, and then it's white's winning. So king f6, the move here, and okay, it's draw. King f4, then simply h5. If they play g4, then I believe king e6 would take the opposition. Yes. So let's say king f4. Now it's a little bit tricky. We can't go king f6. Like I said, we can't take the opposition because simply g4. King h5 is the only move here. Well, the idea is after. Oh, by the way, king f5 is a stalemate. It's a simply stalemate. Alright, so king e5, king g4, here, here, here. Right, we threatens the pawn. So you go h5, king f4, and okay, it's a typical draw. Right, it's typical stalemate because the king simply can't get out, so that would be a stalemate in the end. The king on h8 and the pawn on h7. Alright, I'll just show you. So something like this will happen. The king can never go out. So alright, let's say here. If you go here and here, it's stalemate. Well, let's say you go here. Alright, stalemate. Yeah, it's stalemate. Yeah. Okay, and that's how you draw the game. Right, so after king f3, you have to know that do not take the opposition with king f7. So the move here is king e7 or king g6. By the way, you also have to take a look at h5. In this position, it doesn't work. In some cases, it works. Like this, when opponent got the opposition, h5. Something like this. Right, it's like typical knowledge to know, like one pawn stop, two pawn. And by the way, after queen g4 check, right, king e7 is the move here. Right, king e7 is the move here. But in the game, he played queen f6 and allow queen g8 check. So actually, if you see that king e7 doesn't work, for example, if you see that it doesn't work, and queen f7 is just stronger. It's just stronger instead of queen f6, and maybe black still have some chances. All right, so this is a very nice endgame knowledge or endgame theory, whatever, to know, like in king and pawn game. All right, it's very nice like endgame knowledge because yeah, this is like every player must know endgame. So in this position, I'll repeat it again. So with the pawn on g4, you want to get the opposition. So for example, let me get some stupid move. Yeah. So how do I get some stupid move? Something like this. Here. Alright, something like this. Okay, so when the pawn is on g4, then you get the opposition. Yes, opposition or distant opposition, right? And then you just keep following the king. If the king go here, opposition. king go here, opposition the king. Go here, not king e6, but king e7, good move, opposition the king. And if king g3, I believe king g7 is good, yeah. Even king g6, because now white can't get the opposition with king g4. So yeah, and with the pawn on g3, you don't want to get opposition because white can play g4 in between move, something like this. So something like this. Okay, g4. Right, and now you're losing because in this case, you are the one, like white is the one who getting opposition here. Like if you go king here, okay, king here. If you go king here, and now it's like going round. Now it's like going round. We don't need that opposition. We just start going there and then take the h6 pawn and we just win the game. That's a very nice, like, in-game theory. And by the way, the last thing you have to always take a look at this move, h5. Right, it's a very useful move. So when you are getting opposition, you want to play h5 to to get the tempo, and you are the one who get opposition for black pieces. For instance, king e7. If you go king e3, now you go h5, and now you get the opposition. Okay, then you just keep taking the opposition, like I say. And also very useful. This is also very useful because white can never break. It's a typical one pawn stop, two pawns. So basically it's like the pawn is equal, right? Because they can't break, and it's just a totally draw because you keep opposite, take the opposition of the king, and that's why in this position king e7 and the king g6 is the only two moves to draw, because right, king e6 you allow the opposition. Wait, is it? No, because of h5. Yeah, white also need to be careful here, not allow something like this happen. And I think, okay, king g4 is the move here, and we just take the pawn. Is it? Oh, it's not king g4 because of this one. Okay. Okay, king f4 is the move here. Oh, okay, yeah, king f4. If king f6, now we go g4, and it's winning for white. If you go h5, now we go king g5. Yeah, it's very tricky. If you go king e5, yeah, it's king e3, I believe. No, because of h5, so it's g4. Okay, yeah. Actually, I also a bit confused. So okay, it's g4 is the move here. So king f5 just g4. King g, let's say king f7 g4. If you go king g7, I believe king f4 is the move. Oh, okay. I think king f4 is the move here, actually. Yeah, king f4 is the move. Yeah, it's the same thing. If you go here, then here. If you go here, g4. If you take the opposition, now actually doesn't really matter. First of all, g4. Second, we can simply play king f5. And either g4 or h5 wins, I think. Yeah, h5 is just the simplest way. So, yeah, king g6. Now, the idea behind king g6 is white can't get opposition anyway because there's this h5 move, right? The move to survive you. And king e7 is the same thing. And that's why, like after, sorry. So after they go g4, now you take the opposition. Right, that's the whole idea behind this. Very high level in-game skill or in-game knowledge. So that's all for today, I think. Yeah, and keep following Road to Grandmaster. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys learned something today. Bye.